Just because the channel is called Buckeye Barbecue doesn't mean we have to cook a big piece of meat every time. Today we're going to get ready for the holidays by making some eggnog, some real eggnog, not that crap you buy at the store. So thanks for joining and stay tuned. Okay, we're going to separate some egg yolks from the whites. Got a dozen eggs here, so I'll do the first of these and then we'll probably fast forward through the rest of it. So I've just got a dish here. I wouldn't call myself great at this process, but once you do a couple, it's not that bad. It just takes a little time. And it doesn't matter if they break really, but you don't really want them to break before you're done. So there is one. We will do 11 more for a total of a dozen, and these are large eggs by size, so keep that in mind. So we will get moving. Okay, in case you couldn't tell, I lost one yolk and I didn't like the look of another one. So I grabbed a couple more eggs to add to it. Moral of the story is you're bound to lose one on this process at least, so don't just buy a dozen eggs and have no backups. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a pound of sugar. So this is a pound of sugar by weight. It is probably around 2 cups, but I'm going by weight, so keep that in mind. So adding those to the egg yolks, or that to the egg yolks. And the next thing we're going to do is add some nutmeg. So I've got an actual nutmeg nut here and a microplane, so I'm just going to grind some off in there. You want to do at least a teaspoon, and I do recommend actually using real nutmeg. If you got the pre-ground stuff, it'd be okay. But I really like using the fresh nutmeg myself. But this is sort of to taste, but you definitely want to get a teaspoon in there. And that's probably good. And this is something you can add when you serve it as well. So if it's not quite enough for you, you can just add more when it's served. So I'm just going to start whipping these with a whisk, breaking the yolks, incorporating the sugar. And this is not easy. It takes a little while, I should say. It's not hard. But you want to whip it until it gets to the consistency where it runs off your whisk in a continuous ribbon. So this is a time when I'm going to hyperlapse again, and we will bring you back when we get it to the right consistency. I was sitting there doing that by hand and getting tired and thought, hey, I have a hand mixer. So that worked really well. So that's kind of what you're looking for there. And you're going to continue to mix this, so it'll even continue to get better as far as the mixing goes. So now I'm going to add my dairy. And so I've got 2 cups or a pint of whole milk. And I'm just going to give that a quick mix. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point. We're going to be adding more things. It's just when you're mixing something thick with something thinner, you can make a real mess. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix as I go. There we go. Now I'm going to add I can get the packaging off. The same amount, a pint of of half and half. So just straight half and half, a pint, and that's a pint container, so I didn't even have to measure. Again, quick mix. And last thing for dairy is going to be the same amount, a pint of heavy whipping cream. Again, pint container, so I don't have to measure. Quick mix again. And the last thing we have to add is our booze. And you cannot skimp on this. So if adding booze to your eggnog is not your thing, then this recipe probably isn't for you. But it is so good. You got to have the booze in it though, or it can't save it like I intend to save this. You can't age it, if you will. By the way, this recipe is inspired by Alton Brown. I did it a little differently than him, and that brings me to the liquor. I'm sorry, I should have told you. That was 3 cups of liquor. I used a cup of cognac, a cup of spiced rum, in this case Captain Morgan's, and the thing I changed is a cup of bourbon. I actually changed to a different kind of Jamaican rum, not spiced. I'm more of a rum person than a bourbon guy, but feel free to use bourbon in place of that second cup of rum. So again, 3 cups of liquor, 1 cognac, and in my case, 2 cups of different kinds of rum, one of them being spiced. But take one of those cups of rum and put your favorite bourbon in there. And this is full alcohol content, not that stuff you get at some grocery stores that don't sell the real stuff. You have to use the real stuff. So this is ready to go. You can actually drink this right now. I feel like I'm going to want a little more nutmeg in this, so I'm going to add some right now. Again, you want to be careful not to overdo your nutmeg. You can do this at the time of serving. There we go. And we'll just mix again. So I will bring you back in just a second when I have the container ready to age this. Okay, so the last trick to this is pouring it without making a giant mess, and no promises here. We'll see. So I have a jar. It doesn't have to be a special jar. Just happen to have this one that'll close and lock with one of those lids with the clasps. So that's what I'm going to use. And I may actually have more eggnog made than this jar can handle, but we'll deal with that. So I'm just going to slowly start pouring this. So far, I'm getting lucky as far as a mess goes. And I'm going to have enough jar here for the eggnog, so that's great. If you didn't have a jar quite big enough, just put it in something else and keep it in your fridge and have it as a before the holidays treat. There's still some goodness in the bottom of that pan, so I'm going to grab a spatula and just make sure that I get most of that. So apologize if this is not making the camera, but there's a good amount of nutmeg down there, and I want to make sure that I get it. There, that's good. So this is now ready to be put away for Christmas. I'm going to wipe the side of the jar. I did spill a little bit, not that much, but I just want to get it off of there and make this clean. I did not sanitize this jar, by the way. I did wash it out really well. It was sitting on a shelf and has been for a long time, but I cleaned it out really well, just using dish soap and water like you would normally wash dishes. And now this is going to go in our second refrigerator and sit there and just get yummy. Will be absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and get this video out there because I think it's important to get this out long enough before the holidays. But I will probably film a secondary video when we open it up and try it here in a couple of months. We will likely use this between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We'll use it all for sure. But to be honest with you, this will keep till next Christmas if you wanted it to. So I hope you try this. I think you'll enjoy it, and it will be so much better than that store-bought carton stuff that appears once a year out of nowhere in your grocery store. So thanks again for joining Buckeye Barbecue. I hope you're going to have a great holiday season. If you liked this video, please say so by clicking that thumbs up. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel anyway. If you want to wait to see if you liked this video till after you try your own batch of eggnog, I totally get it. So not your standard barbecue video, but thanks for watching anyway, and we'll see you next time at Buckeye Barbecue.